There's a radio frequency in Russia that's been broadcasting the same sound for more than 40 years. A single, repetitive buzz. No music, no ads. No DJs arguing about who gets the morning shift. Just buzz. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, year after year. Sometimes the signal stops for a moment and a voice cuts through. A man's voice, calm, official, reading something that sounds like coordinates, code words, or names that don't belong to anyone anymore. Then the voice disappears and the buzz returns, like a heartbeat you can tune into but never explain. The frequency is called UVB 76, but most people just call it the buzzer. It's been on the air since 1970, or thereabouts. No one has ever admitted to running it. No one has ever taken credit. And yet, if you turn in right now, you'll still hear it. The same low mechanical drone broadcasting from somewhere near St. Petersburg. Some say it's an old Soviet military signal, an automatic system that keeps ticking to prove someone's still alive. Others think it's a failsafe. Dead man's switch. If the buzzing ever stops, it means the end of the world has already started. And if you're wondering if that's true, the answer is mostly. Every day, hundreds of people from all over the world tune in. Not for entertainment, but to listen to the buzz. Some record it, some monitor it. A few swear it talks back. The sound itself is simple, a flat, repeating tone, around 25 buzzes per minute. It's mechanical, hypnotic, and somehow unsettling. Like the hum of a fluorescent light that just won't die. The weird part, the signal doesn't fade. You can drive across Russia, twist the dial, and it's still there, steady, unbroken, like it's wired into the planet's pulse. For years, radio hobbyists tried to trace it. They found an antenna near Pavrovro. Again, Russian's not my thing. I can barely speak English. It was a small military base northwest of Moscow. When a few curious explorers finally made it there in 2010, the base was abandoned, desks overturned, papers scattered, equipment left humming in an empty room, like everybody just got up one day and never came back, which, considering this is Russia, that's rarely a good sign. But the strangest part wasn't what they found, it was what they heard. In the background of the transmission, faint, behind a buzz, microphones had picked up life. Footsteps, furniture scraping, a door creaking open, and once, just once, the sound of something whispering in Russian. I'm not even going to try to translate it, but it translates to, "I'm so tired." Then the buzzing continued, like it never happened. Not long after the base was found empty, the buzzing changed, just slightly, like someone somewhere had adjusted a knob. Suddenly the tone sounded closer, sharper, and every now and then the voice came back. It wasn't random anymore. The messages used to sound like numbers, 7, 6, 9, 14. But now, sometimes, they were words, Russian names, call signs, short bursts of conversations, cut off mid-sentence. Radio hobbyists started logging every transmission. They built online archives, entire communities dedicated to decoding the buzzer. And if you think that sounds excessive, you're absolutely right. Every time the voice appeared, hundreds of people recorded it, slowed it down, reversed it, filtered it. No one ever agreed on what it meant. But a few listeners noticed something strange. Background noise. Once, faint music. Another time, what sounded like a woman laughing. And once, a man saying, "Stoy! Nash." Wait, he can hear us. I'm sure I butchered that. Then the buzzing returned perfectly timed, like nothing had happened. If it is automated, someone taught that machine how to lie. In 2010, something no one expected happened. The buzzer moved. The original transmitter was silent, just for a few hours. Then, without warning, a signal came back. Same sound, same frequency, but from a completely different location. It was now broadcasting from the outskirts of St. Petersburg. A new antenna, new site, same endless buzz. Whoever ran it hadn't abandoned it. They upgraded. which, when you think about it, is more unnerving than if they had just stopped. The new transmission was stronger, sharper, more deliberate. And just when people thought it was random noise again, the voice returned. Sometimes a calm man's voice, reading off strange phrases like Zana Dmitri, 91, 7, Zhbank. I butchered that. Other times, words sounded like military call signs. UZB, 76, MDZ, HB. And once, during a thunderstorm, the buzzing stopped entirely. For a few seconds, the frequency carried only open air, the hiss of static, wind, and distant thunder. Then, faintly, someone spoke, directly into the microphone. One word, "Niet," which means no. I think I got that one right. Then the buzz returned, louder than before, as if to say, "You weren't supposed to hear that." Somewhere between curiosity and madness, there's a place called the UVB chat room. It's where listeners from Russia, Germany, Japan, the US, all gather to monitor the buzzer, nothing else. They compare notes, record timestamps, argue about background noise, like they're in a courtroom and it's evidence. One user claimed he heard footsteps, another swore he heard someone coughing. And one night, a listener named Anton77 said he heard a woman's voice whisper. I'm not going to attempt that Russian, so it translates to, "Can you all hear me?" The room went silent. Then the buzz came back. Most people laughed it off, said it was interference, a prank, maybe a bad recording. But Anton didn't log in again. His last message just said, "It's not a broadcast, it's a beacon." Since then, others have picked up faint Morse code buried under the signal. Names, numbers, sometimes coordinates. And every time someone traces them, the locations change. Always remote, always empty. Which is either brilliant misdirection or a warning no one's smart enough to understand yet. Over the years, dozens of theories had tried to explain the buzzer. Some are simple, others sound like vodka and paranoia had a baby. The first theory, military communication, that the signal is a backup for a Russian early warning network. If nuclear war starts, the buzzer stops, and missiles start flying. Simple, terrifying, efficient. The second theory, ionospheric testing, a way to study how radio waves move through the upper atmosphere. Scientists like it because it sounds boring enough to be true. And then there's the third theory, the one no one writes down anymore, that the buzzer is a cover, not for a project, but for a person. A lone operator somewhere in the Russian wilderness, sitting in a room that never goes dark. Their only job? To make sure the buzzer never stops. Because if it does, something else will start. It's the kind of theory that keeps you awake longer than you'd like. Some swear they've heard the faint breathing between transmissions. Others say it's just feedback, old equipment, interference. But when you listen at 3 a.m. with a volume too high or your lights turned too low, it starts to feel less like you're hearing a signal and more like the signal's hearing you. If you tune in today, right now, you'll still hear it. The same low hum pulsing from somewhere deep in the Russian wilderness. It never skips, never stutters, just a heartbeat made of static. And maybe that's the strangest part, because everything about the buzzer suggests it shouldn't still exist. The Cold War is over. The towers are aging. The soldiers, the scientists, the operators, all gone. But the sound remains. No one funds it, no one repairs it, no one admits that it's theirs, and yet it keeps going. Buzzing through wars, through blackouts, through decades. Every so often the tone shifts, just slightly, as if someone somewhere is still keeping watch. Or worse, still waiting for the moment it needs to stop, because that's the one question no one wants answered. What happens when that buzzer finally goes silent? And if you're the kind of person tempted to find out, you should probably leave the dial alone. You know, every mystery ends the same way, with someone refusing to let it go. There are still listeners out there, scattered across time zones, headphones on, eyes half closed, waiting for the buzz to break. Most don't even know why anymore. Maybe it's habit, maybe it's comfort. Maybe they just want to be the first to know when silence finally arrives. Once, a listener in Finland claimed that during a snowstorm, the buzzer changed for exactly 7 seconds. When he checked the chat logs, every other listener heard nothing unusual, which means either his receiver glitched or it didn't. Somewhere, maybe deep in the frozen woods, a single red light still pulses. Steady, constant, unseen. Not a warning, not a message. Just a reminder that some things were never meant to stop. And maybe that's why it's still there, to make sure we keep listening, long after whoever started it is gone. Some stories fade with time, others just keep humming. The buzzer doesn't care who's listening. It never did. It's not looking for an audience. It's just there, steady, stubborn, eternal. And maybe that's the real message. Not a code, not a signal. Just a reminder that silence is never really empty. Hey, if you made it this far, maybe you're one of the listeners too. Just don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep the dial tuned, just in case the buzzing ever stops. This is Truth-ish, where everything's mostly true and always strange. Thanks for watching.